King and Queens, King and Queens, King and Queens, King and Queens. We got a good one for y'all today, man. We got JB Reacts. He's reacting to Anton Daniels sitting on a panel with a bunch of black men, and I know y'all know what's about to happen. You see the title, you see the thumbnail. We gonna get straight into it, man. People have a lot of issues, especially a lot of black men. A lot of black people have an issue with Anton Daniels. They believe that he is not for the people. Let's just get into it, man. Let's get into it. Shout out to JB Reacts too, by the way. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to his channel. Before you go subscribe to his, make sure you subscribe to mine. Let's get into the video.
I'm saying this. When you get on these shows, the main thing that stood out to me that day when I called up on your show, you said Malcolm X, bro. And it wasn't even about, I was of course offended that you said that, but my issue is nobody else was. And I think that you saying stuff like that and people not responding and having no smoke, and all they could see is the fact that I cut this man off, but they had no smoke or no issues for you saying that, to me was bothering me. And to me, I'm seeing a trend of people just feeling like just on black people all together is something we need to do. Like, we can call out the bad elements without throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Could you say
maybe you don't agree with Malcolm X's message? Maybe he just don't agree. That's one of the biggest things I don't understand, is that because I'm black, I can't critique black problems or black issues that I might find as a problem. Like, what is wrong with that? White people do it all the time. Asian people do it all the time. Why can't you call out? You should be more qualified to call out your own culture's problems and have disagreements with outside of other cultures.
But I think calling a person out is one thing. Saying F them is a whole completely different thing. Because then you'll have to break down, okay, why do you feel the way you feel? You know what I mean? And go into context and break things down. I think just to throw out the slander, I think that's the issue that most people will have, versus saying, well, I don't agree with Malcolm X because of da 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 da. You know what I mean? I have no idea. I don't know. I didn't hear him say that, so I have no idea. But just in response to what JB was just saying, I just think that if I just say F Tupac, man, F Tupac, versus saying, well, I didn't agree with certain things that Tupac did, but also Tupac, because you can say what you want to say about Malcolm X, but you cannot take away from his intelligence and his heart in that era. It took a lot of heart and pride to do what he did.
I'm pretty sure you'll be really upset if a white guy was calling out black culture, or Asian or Mexican dude, because you would say that you don't even relate to what we actually experience, but you have someone who is black. It's a problem when you call out things. That's problematic to me.
Black culture, you say that, but then you go live, you got black culture aesthetics all around you, bro. Like, you got the Chronic behind you. That's a black street nigga album, for lack of a better term. You got this one, you got that one. So it's like you're trying to appeal to the aesthetic of black people, but then at the same time you want to smack them down. It's like, I think you're sending mixed messages, and I feel like somebody that has your influence can do better than that. But that's my opinion, and that's what I want to talk about today. But the floor is yours. You can respond.
Well, first of all, I wanted to say respect to the platform, and the reason that I'm coming up here is because I support all creators, regardless of whether I agree with them or not, right? So I could disagree with you, but it doesn't mean that I don't want you to win, right? So let me start there by saying respect to the platform, and that's why I'm here. The second thing is, to answer you directly, I do think that you need to throw the culture away, because what I define as the culture, because I think it's a difference between black people and black culture, right? What we push as black culture is the things that we celebrate the most. And definitively, most of the time, that is the worst things for us. We pedestalize, we celebrate it, we don't want to call it out, but then when somebody finally says something about it, then they become the big bad wolf. And so I don't celebrate the majority of what we as a culture like to champion is best for us. It has destroyed our households, it has destroyed our communities, and it's 10 times worse than it's ever been at any point in history. So I stand on that. I haven't changed up on that at all. I think
I agree with that too.
I believe that it needs to be a completely different culture, right? We celebrate jail culture, and then we down people that actually go to school every day, and we call them lames.
Exactly, and I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I fit into that category because of the decisions that I made in my life or the path that I chose. people will look at me more like, hey, he might be corny, he might be lame because he, talks a certain way, he acts a certain way. I grew up in the hood. I grew up in a project called Westlake Apartments, and I never resonated with hood type culture, like selling dope outside on the corner, trying to rob, trying to hit a lick, all this type of stuff. I never resonated with that. And it's not a social media thing. Look in your own backyard and see what your city, your hoods in your city, what do they look like? And then you can make that decision.
I think, yes, in our culture, of course, we got a lot of jokes. We joke. Man, I got family members that will joke at a funeral. But one thing you cannot take away from in our culture is that we push people and we thrive and we live in that, not thrive, but we more so are encouraging people to go to school. We are encouraging people to get their education and be intelligent and be smart, even in the streets, growing up in the hood. I'm from Sacramento. I grew up in Oak Park. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in Rancho. I grew up in the Valley. I grew up in all these places. Like, man, 29th Street. Like these are staples and places where it is hood. But nobody's going to clown you for going to get your education. Them OGs is going to tell you, get out these streets. Don't get in these streets. Don't get involved in these streets, bro. Go get your education. Go to school if you want to join. And then they'll give you the option. You want to join this? I'm going to lay all this out for you and let you know this is what's going to happen. There's going to be consequences and repercussion with you trying to come out here on this blacktop with us. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I get that, but I didn't grow up in that. If you was going to school, you was going to school. Yeah, you had a jokes or whatever the case. Oh, you look corny. Look at that, look corny. But it's not like you corny because you going to school. You corny because your clothes probably crazy looking. You probably got your pants up your butt. But other than that, no. This is encouraging you to go to school. That's crazy. So I don't know where y'all grew up at, but nah, you can, and then you can even be hood and be intelligent. How many smart people I know that's gang members?
But Anton,
we push the worst things for ourselves, but then at the same time, you know how many people wanted to see me lose at Corey's platform? You know how many people wanted to see me lose?
Well, why, Anton? Why they want to see you lose?
Because I represent something that they are not used to seeing winning.
But that's not true, Anton. That's not why everybody want. That's maybe why some of them do it. But everybody didn't want to see you lose because of that, bro.
That's why most people do it. If I was up here talking about some of the worst stuff ever, like we always do in our culture, I would be cool.
Anton, this is why
but because I stand 10 toes down on what culture is.
This is why I'm disagree with you, Anton, because I go through the same thing. I go through the same thing. Everybody in this space, I just got into it with Fatty because he was saying, you need to leave this space because you want to be righteous and all that. Because I be on panels talking about real shit. I be having interviews talking about stuff that's not messy. And I don't get that support when I do that. So I don't do that.
Well,
I literally was laughed at by people in this space.
Better. You need to learn how to market yourself better. That has nothing to do with...
No, I'm not even talking about, bro. I ain't even talking about numbers. I'm just talking about people rather see arguments than information. Now, if you want to say, hey, it's a better way to prevent your information, I'm always open to a suggestion. But what I'm saying is I've been on panels with just all men, bro, and they laughed at me because I said things like, they said, what's your solution, Illa? I said, I think the children is the solution. I think the children is a viable solution because we can.
Then you need to get a different panel of men up there. You got the wrong type of men with the wrong type of mindset. If y'all don't think the people under y'all, the generation under y'all or below y'all, however you want to word that, is going to be the future, then you're crazy. That makes absolutely no sense. We know every generation has its time. So and I think what Anton is saying is he's saying that change the environment, change what you putting out, mix the medicine in with the candy. Don't go too far left with it, but you might be preaching to the wrong choir or preaching to the wrong congregation.
Can't fix old dogs, but we can re-engineer. And
I agree with that.
But it's the thing. This space laughed at me. I was on panels with dudes.
You can't teach old dogs. Which is why the younger generation is probably who you need to go and reach back to. Stop talking to these older dudes who stuck in their ways. Go and talk to the people who you are saying is the future. Go and talk to the younger people who actually they're yearning for education. They're yearning for information. They don't mind listening to somebody that's talking about bettering themselves and actually instilling positive into them because you're talking directly to them. If you're saying they're the future, you're talking to them. So get them on this panel. Talk to younger people. I would love to listen to an older person give me knowledge and game about life and what I need to do better and how to be a better, partner to women or in the future be a husband or whatever.
And I was bringing out.
Maybe he might be in the wrong space. You ain't preaching nothing wrong if you saying that. I say the exact same thing. You might have to find a different way to gravitate or attach it to people, but you can't complain when the people around you are the ones that's clowning. You need to go to where it needs to be heard and where you can actually push your message at. You got other brothers like 19 Keys. I see him preach nothing but positivity, and he's very popular. You might have to move different. I think that's what Anton was getting at when he said you might have to market yourself better. But Illa kind of took offense to that when he said, I'm not talking about numbers and that. You have to take your personal thoughts on how things might sound to you and really listen to what Anton is saying. He's saying market yourself to where now you can get your message out appropriately instead of being in a space right now where they're not digesting it. Right. But I think that went over his head when Anton said that.
Books about history, about culture,
the
and
difference between you and me is I don't give a about what people think about me.
No, I'm just giving you an example of how the gripe that I don't give a that's why I do what I do. But
no,
I'm just giving you an example of that gripe that you have. I have that gripe as well. But that doesn't excuse, that doesn't mean I'm not going to still speak to these people with love. Like, it's still some love and empathy in me trying to relate to people because everybody is not what we see on the computer. Everybody's not what we see on the street. These people still got children, aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews. So I don't just speak the message that this. Go ahead.
Hold on. I just want to say this real philosophical. You cannot try and put that on Anton Daniels as a social media influencer to say that he needs to talk to people with love. Look for that with your father, your mother, your brother, your sister. Look for that type of love, that empathy love from them, because guess what? The world is going to punish you. And maybe Anton Daniels' form of communication to the public might be a little harsh sometimes. It might not always be coddled and make me.
But is that not how the older men that we looked up to talk to us? A lot of us miss that. I know me, I never had a father in my life, but I had older cousins and I had certain uncles that talked to me stern. That helped me become a better person. That helped me become a real young man and know what it's like. Because life is not going to be easy. Life not going to be nice. You might have to get hit in the chest a couple times. You know what I'm saying? Metaphorically, right? So you may need that tough conversation. You may need somebody to get you out of being comfortable. Because a lot of times the women will make you comfortable. And it creates you to be stagnant with life. And you don't want to grow and you want to sit in that room all dang day. But you might need your uncle to come in here and give you a hard conversation that's uncomfortable that you may not like. And I think that's what Anton is like, that uncle that you just like, oh my God, here you go. All right, what you got to say? But, also too, I don't think he's disrespectful. I think it's just how we perceive things and how we, view the way we view something, because our minds be so skewed with listening to certain things like, oh, why did he say it like that? And it's just like, okay, well, if you got a problem with it, just go directly to him. If you can get on one of these panels and ask him a question, just have a conversation versus it just being an ego thing. And I think that's where a lot of these panels get lost. And a lot of times we got to step outside of how we view and look at things and realize that everybody's walk of life is completely different. But if we have a conversation respectfully as men, it could be an effective conversation.
Feel special and so on and so forth. Sometimes you got to throw that out. You might need his approach in your life because you don't have that in your life. Right. So to try and put that type of a standard on the content creator, somebody who don't know none of these people that listen to him, that is crazy as hell. Yeah. You got to figure out in your life on what you need to listen to and what's digestible for yourself. But if you're looking for some type of coddle love, look for that in your personal family and the people around you that might reinforce your bad behavior.
People's lineage needs to die off.
Facts.
I don't need to support and rock out with people just because you're black. True. There's some people that are so degenerate and so bad for what it is that we stand for. And let's be clear, we're the only culture that forces all of us to support all of the bullshit, regardless of what everybody does. All white people don't with white people. Asian people don't with Asian people. They outcast them to certain cities. If you go over to Japan, if you go over to Tokyo, they got whole cities that's dedicated to motherfuckers that can't come outside, based off of the fact that they're not contributing to the culture and they're degenerate. But we're the only culture that we have to support it all just because I'm black. No, I don't.
No, I don't think we need to support all the bullshit. But we still have to give freedom.
But let me just say this. I think that what you said as far as ruling in love, I don't believe in that. I believe that sometimes you have to completely go in to destroy all of it. And I don't feel as though
my boy Anton taking the Thanos effect.
I have to make it right with people that have lived their whole lives to be destroyers. Some people are not good people for people, and I believe that I can destroy it all. I think when I go into a place, I'm not looking to be friends with these niggas. I don't need
My boy Anton need all the Infinity Stones. He
to have a conversation with everybody to make it cool. And let me be very clear. When me and Corey, because a lot of people say I came in with an agenda.
I thought you did.
Corey called me and set the pace of what the agenda was going to be before I got there.
Before Anton expounds upon that, I think it's beneficial to be a well-rounded person. If you're gonna live in America,
Sure.
As you can say, a black or African American, whatever you want to call yourself, your title is still going to be American. If you get apprehended by another country, you're going to be identified as an American. So what I would suggest anybody who lives in America to be well-rounded.
I knew it was going to be smoke because he already told me that it was going to be smoke and that he had smoke for me. I knew he was going to disrespect me before he disrespected me because he had already led on. He didn't say directly, I'm going to disrespect you. He said, I got smoke for you and it's not going to, you know what I'm saying? It's not going to be one of them cool shows. So what do you think I'm going to do? You think I'm going to go in there like a deer in headlights?
Oh, wow.
Hey, I don't think he really knew.
I'm asking a question.
I don't think he did.
Because everybody
If
keeps
that's
saying,
the case,
they
no.
make a big deal. They make a
If
big
that's
deal
the
when I
case,
say
no.
that I prepared and I studied for him. I think that the real travesty is that he wasn't prepared, but yet he invited me to his studio. I flew from Detroit to LA. And so you think that I'm supposed to be the B-side. I'm supposed to be the one that's going to lose.
Yeah, you're the away team.
I wasn't prepared to lose.
And prior to you coming on the show, I kind of alluded to that. Because quite frankly, like I told the brothers here, y'all both won because y'all basically have us talking about it. And the internet space, that is exactly what it's designed for, is to have people talk. Whether they're talking negative or positive does not matter. The point is, we're sitting here talking about it. So I commend y'all both on that. But
I'll say this.
I don't think neither one of them won in that situation though, because it led to egos getting, involved. I think it would have been a better conversation and it would have been a win for them both to have a discussion, shake hands at the end. And we both are like, oh, dang, okay, Anton had some amazing points and facts, and he's hitting us with a lot of truth. Oh, dang, okay. And then Corey, he was able to respond and rebuttal everything that Anton said, and he had his facts straight, too. He did his research. As an interviewer, having a guest on, he really did his due diligence. But no, it was not like that. Anton, of course, didn't lose because he still bred it up. He's still successful. He's still doing his thing. He left with Mika. Shout out to Mika, by the way. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. But yeah, Anton, like, whatever. And Corey felt, but I ain't gonna lie, it was kind of low key embarrassing. Just a little bit, you know what I mean, on Corey's end, because he just couldn't let it go. It was like, oh, are you dragging it, bro? And then when Anton said, let's go outside, that would have been green light. You said, let's go outside. You initiated it. Corey, you initiated the the fade. You was really asking for it without asking for it. And Anton like, you know what? Forget it. I'm not going to call you no D sucker again. I'm not going to say that. Nah, forget that. I said, let's go out back. Let's go out back right now. Oh my God, I would have hopped up so beautifully. I would have hopped up so beautifully. It would have been amazing.
Let me listen to what Sean's going to say first.
to my point that I made prior to that, neither one of y'all was sitting there y'all both were doing the same thing. When you pointed out the fact that
I met his energy, bro. I never got disrespectful. Until I got disrespectful.
You ain't being honest. You came in being condescending, bro.
What did I say? Wait. What did I say that was condescending?
Here we go.
You came in to lose to his chat. You came in to lose to how tough his chat was, and that they not tough.
That has nothing to do with disrespecting Corey Holcomb. If you're right there and you're reading the chat and they talking trash, that's literally just speaking on what he's seeing right there in real time. And even Corey agreed to it, and Darlene agreed to the same thing.
Yeah, because the whole chat, if you go back and watch the live, the whole chat was saying, oh, he gay.
But you just said you don't care what people say. You just said you don't care what people think, bro.
You did say that.
You can't say that I was coming in and being disrespectful because I talked to the chat.
I said condescending. That's what I said.
Yeah, but again, bro, this is the content creator part of it, bro. Again,
fantastic.
You can't say all fantastic. Let me say this.
I do every single
what
day
is that?
on every single live stream. On my own live streams, is I talk to the chat. I talk to my own chat every single day. That is not new.
Let's get off the chat. Let's get off the chat.
I want to know.
That's one at a time, y'all. Anton here, so let's let him talk.
The first thing that Anton said was he was on time.
I disrespectful to him?
How's that
Prior
disrespectful?
to being told. Prior to being told that I kiss white men.
Not disrespectful. It was condescending. The on-time statement, the very first statement that Anton made was
I got invited to a show.
And he was late.
Wait. I got invited to a show. I flew 4.5 hours from Detroit.
So what?
Wait, give me a second.
That's crazy for Picasso to even say so what when there is certain guidelines that you need to follow in business. Like, what are we talking about?
Okay, you're right.
I flew 4 hours from Detroit. I'm there on time. Gotta wait more than a half hour for you to even arrive. That's disrespectful in itself.
Yeah, on business, man, and everything. That's what I'm saying. How you gonna say whatever?
You could discuss that off camera, though. You could discuss that before the show started, bro. You could discuss that before the show started. If it's that big of a deal, bro, you could discuss that before the camera get rolled.
In fairness, hold on.
Hey, when Illa talking, man, y'all gotta shut the hell up. When Illa talking, y'all gotta shut the fuck up, bro.
All right,
fellas.
Why do you think that he was complaining about the conversation that I had with Darlene for a long time before he even got there? You know why I was able to do that? Is because he wasn't there.
Yeah, he was late.
The reason why I was
There's no pushback for him being late, though. I think they just don't like Anton.
able to have so much conversation and get toured on the whole facility and find out who owned it and learn all about what it is that's going on and see how his production team work and kick it with Darlene and get every single piece of information is because he wasn't there. That's not my fault. That's the you fault.
Oh, that's crazy.
So what are you trying to expose by doing that?
No, I said, what did I do that was disrespectful prior to being told?
Before we got to the disrespectful part, we asked about the condescending. The first thing that they said was the chat. But hold on, Anton. The condescending thing you did, the very first thing you said was condescending, which was I was on time, which was something you could have discussed afterwards, but you came there with the identity that you were gonna win something.
That's unfair.
Listen.
So as grown men, he can't have a little add that to the conversation or whatnot. Man, I see in the workplace all the time. People start meetings off. If you late, they gonna call you out. They gonna say something about you. Talking about these are two grown adults, two fully functioning, high profile individuals, and you telling me that one can't say that to just spice the conversation up or lead into the conversation. There's nothing wrong with that. Like now it's gonna boil down to how you as a person is receiving it and if you might be emotional possibly.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if y'all having an exchange of words and you get disrespectful and it's like, man, listen, I was here on time. I was prepared. I was ready. You know what I mean? You're going to throw that in a subtle way. You may not just be over the top dramatic with it, but you're going to throw that in there. Like, man, I was here on time. You know what I'm saying? I'm a guest. You would think that you would be, if anything, you would think that you would be waiting on me because I had to fly here. Yeah, this is crazy. This is what I be talking about though. When men get too emotional and they little ego gets in, and then on top of that, if they just dislike you, oh yeah, they gonna come up with anything.
He already explained what he was trying to do.
He already on the phone. He wanted this to be an explosive, volatile, and he wanted this to be emotional.
Oh wow!
He told me, listen. This is the honest to God truth.
Can you prove that?
No. Listen.
Let him talk, y'all. Let him talk.
Let him prove it.
No, you're right, Anton.
Listen to what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
One of the things that he told me when I first got on the call is, I hope you don't record phone calls. I said, I said, what is that? I said, I don't record no phone calls. I said, you ain't never seen me drop no receipts on nobody phone calls. He said, because, I want to set the stage of how things is going to go. First thing he started to do is he started to talk about all of the niggas that he didn't like. I'm not going to say that out loud because that ain't got nothing
to do with it. That ain't important.
The second thing that he said was, what he wanted the show to be like. He knew it was going to be volatile. He knew it was going to be problems. He didn't want me to agree with him, and he wanted it to actually be some real fireworks in there.
I think that right there closes the door for a lot of people's arguments who had the question of, was it staged? Of course it wasn't staged, but the fact that Corey actually asked Anton to make it spicy, to add a little bit more flair and fire to it, what you expect Anton to do? Hold back no punches. Like, if he's going to come in there, if Corey's going to start talking about certain topics that Anton is very prolific in, if he's going to do that, that means Anton is going to bring his A game. That means that when the conversation is going a certain direction, Anton is going to make sure he recenter it and redirect it to make sure he controls the argument. See, that's how, and I mentioned this on a panel I was on, to where it's a debate tactic when you can restructure how the conversation is going to flow, opposed to the interviewer asking you all these questions, jumping around.
Yeah.
Anton went straight to the meat and potatoes and went straight to some of the main talking points. Hold on. Are you saying?
Hold on. Okay.
If you set the stage for how you want it to go, it's your show, it's your studio, it's your production team. You say you want me to be there. I got the text messages from Phil of exactly the time that I had to be there. I'm sitting there waiting, all of this stuff. Why are y'all making so many excuses for a grown man not being able to meet the expectation?
Exactly.
Let me ask this question. Hold on, let me ask this question. Let me ask this question.
Monster, let me jump in real quick. I'm gonna say this.
Anton good at.
Because I don't want to be petty, because
Somebody said this one Anton good at. Boy, it's crazy.
What?
that's, we can get to the meat of the shit. If that's the case, out of fairness, I'm not, nobody can say I'm unfair. We already know our history is well documented. If Corey was late and he told you that on the phone, you just saying I was on time is minor. In my opinion, in that instance, that's all. We should just move on. That's what happened behind the scenes, and all you said was you was late. I think that's like, it's null and void at that point.
Wow, Philosophical actually is agreeing with Anton Daniels. They had a really bad debacle about 2 years ago. The clips on Anton Daniels' Millionaire Morning Show, they had a heated back and forth, which
I'm gonna have to go check that out. I'm gonna do a part 2 to this, y'all, because my camera doesn't record that long. So I'm actually gonna do a part 2 because I'm really interested and invested into this conversation. And it spices up a little bit. It gets a little bit more intense. So yeah, with that being said, put your comments about this one in the comment section below. This is part 1. We're gonna do part 2. And yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. All right, we'll be back with another one. Love, peace, and prosperity. Hello, goodbye. Talk to me. Do not yell at me. We elevate till we hit ahead. We ain't bleeding. Yes, spread love, not hate. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Be great. Go on.